giant batch of marinara and spaghetti sauce in the last video, and I'm about to can it all up and put it on our shelves. So stay tuned to this episode of BoosCruize.
Hi, I'm Jarrell.
And I'm David.
I am 34 years old.
You saw that I just made this giant batch of spaghetti meat sauce, and it is amazing and delicious, and it is done now, and I'm about to put this in these jars. So these jars have already been washed and sterilized, and we're just going to put them in with a 1-inch headspace. So we're just going to start filling these jars, literally just going to take it, put it in the funnel just like this. And the great thing about this is we're going to pressure can this, and there is meat in this sauce, so when I'm ready, all I have to do is take this right off the shelf, make a, thing of pasta, keto pasta for us, but regular pasta for you if you are not trying to watch those carbs or anything. The great thing about this also is there's already meat in this sauce. If I wanted, I could just add some chili powder and some cumin, and I have chili right on my shelves. The possibilities with this are endless. I could also make some taco soup if I wanted. Also, tip, I put my jars on one of these half sheet trays so that if anything drops, it's still clean, because I don't like to be cleaning constantly, and it's red sauce, so it gets everywhere. So I'm going to continue until all these jars are full and see how many we get. I'm going to leave a little bit left over because I'm making a keto lasagna tonight. So let me fill these jars. So we got 9 pint jars of sauce with meat. So now you have to go through, and this is a tool that you can use to check that you have a 1-inch headspace, meaning that you want this to be 1 inch below the very, very top of the jars, and that's just because it'll expand while it's pressure cooking. And the great thing about this tool is this is your debubbler as well. Now, debubbling just is when you go in, you want to go around the edge of every jar. It's a really important step. You want to go around and make sure that there are no air bubbles in your jars. The reason for this is that you don't want botulism. You don't want to get sick from these, and this is what keeps all the air out. And you want to use a plastic, you can use the end of a wooden spoon. You don't want to use anything metal because you don't want to chip your jars, but you just want to go in and debubble every one of these. And also, depending on what you are canning, sometimes during the debubbling process, it'll settle, and you'll find that you can fit a little bit more in a jar. Like, see, this one is a little bit extra. I can add that to this one. So I'm going to keep debubbling, and I'll be back in 2 seconds. These have all been debubbled, and now we have the next super important step, which is wiping the lid of every jar, the rim, with vinegar. This is just a bowl full of pure vinegar. You want to wipe the rims and all of the threads with vinegar. This is really, really important because, especially because there's meat, if you're canning meat, because it gets off any of the grease or any of the fat that may have gotten around the rim that can affect your seal. Because if a little bit of fat gets trapped on the rim, it can make your jars not seal, and then that would be very upsetting because you went through all this hard work. In the event that your jar doesn't seal, and that happens, it doesn't mean you did anything wrong. All you need to do is you can either recan them with a new lid. Lids are not reusable. Rings are reusable, lids are not. Or you can just put that in your refrigerator. No big deal. So I'm going to wipe all of these rims. Also, when you're wiping the rims, check for any chips, because that can also cause issues. So make sure that this is totally smooth and there's nothing on it and there's no chips. bubbled. All of the rims have been wiped with pure vinegar. Also, put a little bit of vinegar in your water, and that will keep the jars from clouding up. We're going to go in with these are brand new lids. Again, you cannot reuse lids. They have to be new every time. So I just go in and I put them all on at the same time just because I want to make sure that nothing gets in the jars. I like to keep them nice and covered. It used to be that the Ball standard of canning said that you had to put your lids in simmering water, but you don't need to do that anymore. Ball has officially said that that is an unnecessary step, and I'm not taking any unnecessary steps. So, all of your lids are on, and now you want to screw your rings on, and you just want to do it fingertip tight. What that means is that with the tips of your fingers, you give it a wrench, not too heavy. You don't want to do it super, super hard. Don't use all your brute strength. Just a little bit on there, fingertip tight, you're good. Because you want this to have a chance to move around a little bit because it needs to let all of the air out and then seal. So I'm going to get all my rings on. All my rings are on, and isn't this beautiful? Ugh, I'm so excited. Let's get these over to the canner. So my water is slightly simmering, and I'm going to get these right into the canner. You can use a tool. There is a tool, but I just use my fingers. So there's a little bit of vinegar in the water to keep it from clouding, and there's also, as you can see, a rack in the bottom. Never can without a rack in the bottom, or else your jars will bust. So nobody wants that. So let's see here. I'm going to do this one, and then one more. And I'm going to add an additional rack on top of these because I have 2 more jars. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put our lid on, line up all of the threads, and then put it on. We're going to bring it up to high, and we're going to wait until this has a steady vent of steam, and then we're going to put on a timer for 10 minutes. So a steady vent of steam, timer for 10 minutes, and you can, according to where you live and your stipulations, we are going to cook this, because there is meat in it, it's going to be cooked under 10 pounds of pressure, this is a 10-pound weight, for 75 minutes. So let's wait for this to get a steady vent of steam, and then we'll set our timer for 10 minutes, and we'll be back. We are venting a steady stream of steam, so we are going to set our timer for 10 minutes. See you in 10. Just a tip, don't skip this step. Basically what the 10 minutes does is it pushes all of the air out so that when you put the weight on, you are actually pressure canning at the correct temperature. So don't skip the 10 minutes of venting.
4, 3, 2, 1. Beep. Thanks, Frigidaire. All right, so now our weight goes on. Watch yourself with the steam. So now what we're gonna do is we are gonna wait for this gauge to get to 11 pounds of pressure, and then we are gonna set a timer for 75 minutes because it is pints. If it were quarts, it would be 95 minutes, but it is pints, and then we're going to keep it within that range. Now, we have something called, this is a quick boil burner, so this thing means business. So it's gonna get there quickly, and then you turn it down, and you want to maintain that 11 pounds of pressure. Don't let it go too high, or you could also run the risk of cracking your jars, which you do not want to do. We have reached 11 pounds of pressure. Now do your best to stay at or slightly above this, but don't let it go below 11 pounds of pressure, or else you have to start your timer completely over, and ain't nobody got time for that.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Beep, beep. Thanks, Frigidaire. All right, guys. So now we turn this to off and literally just let it come completely down off pressure. Don't try to touch the top. Don't take the weight off. Don't do anything. just let it go completely down until this reads 0, and then it's cool to the touch, and then you can take that off. So just don't mess with it. It's dangerous. All right, guys, so the pressure has released on my canner, and I can open it. Now, always open it away from you because it is gonna be hot and steamy, as you can see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pints of amazing meat sauce that is ready. Oh, you hear that? I love that sound. That is the sound of success. Those pings are music to any canner's ears. So I'm going to sit these for a second and clean out my canner, and then you're going to cover them with a towel and let them sit overnight. Once they're all done, you just take off the rings, wash the outsides of the jar because there might be some sort of grease from the cooking process. Another one! And then they're ready to go on your shelves. Oh, guys, that is the best sound in the world to a canner. Are you excited, babe?
About the
Christ. Thank you guys so much for joining me today to do this canning video. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit of something. Right now, when times are super, super hard, these are amazing skills that so many people have forgotten. And you can truly save yourself a lot of time and a lot of money by learning to do this. And it's amazing because I know what goes in this sauce because I made it. So if you like these videos and more, make sure you give it a thumbs up. That helps the algorithms. And follow us at BoosCruize. That's at BoosCruize, cause you're worth it, E. And we'll see you at the next video.